Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada.
The 80s. The 80s was a fantastic decade. If you grew up during the 80s, if you're an 80s kid, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, we will never see a decade like this again. We had the introduction of video games, the Atari, later on the Nintendo. Just mind-blowing when you were a kid. We had all these different movies, different genres of movies with these new breakout directors like Spielberg, Lucas. The 80s was saturated with sci-fi, action-adventure. You name it, we had it. And today we're going to talk about a movie that came out in 1984. I love this movie. This movie is near and dear to my heart. And I always thought everybody knew about this movie, but I was wrong. A lot of people never seen the movie, or they've never even heard of the movie, I found out. But I am talking today about The Last Starfighter. Now, Arrow had signed with Universal to distribute certain titles with a new 4K restoration. Recently, Arrow dropped for us the 4K UHD of Pitch Black and Flash Gordon, both with gorgeous Dolby Vision presentations. If you haven't catch those reviews yet, I reviewed each one of those films, and the link is down in the description below. Unfortunately for The Last Starfighter, Arrow didn't spring for a UHD or Dolby Vision master, just a 4K restoration based off the 35mm negative, giving The Last Starfighter a complete overhaul with a new 4K restoration supervised by director Nick Castle with the correct aspect ratio of 2:3:5:1. Now, again, if you're a fan of the movie, and I can't imagine why you wouldn't be, then you are going to be absolutely giddy with glee at the big upticks with this 4K restoration. First, right off the bat, there is a big noticeable difference in clarity and detail levels across the board. The detail levels are noticeably improved in both live action scenes and the CG scenes, along with a nice boost in color grading with vibrant colors, especially the different shades of reds, blues, and greens that the 2009 Blu-ray just did not have. One of the most noticeable differences between the 2009 Blu-ray and Arrow's presentation is the retention of grain that gives the imagery a much more natural and organic film-like appearance. There's also some noticeable differences in color temperature as well, with an all-around slightly warmer ambience in the Arrow release. Now, the only problem I saw that has absolutely nothing to do with the new restoration is with the early use of computer effects, and it's clearly a product of 1984. And the 4K restoration, this becomes very noticeable, especially if you're watching it on a big screen, 65-inch or larger. Overall, I found zero hints of damage or debris to really speak of. This is another beautiful upgrade out of the Arrow Video Vault that will be appreciated by fans of the movie. Now, as I said, there are three audio tracks. It includes the original stereo mix, a DTS 4.1 surround mix, and a DTS 5.1 surround mix, all in HD sound. Now, I did flip back and forth between all three tracks as I rewatched scenes, and I have to say, stick with the DTS 5.1 mix. It does sound the best out of the three. And right off the bat, with the main theme, you hear a huge difference. The theme just completely blasts open the door and fills the surround space with bombastic music cues throughout the film. With the sound effects, I noticed some scenes sounded better than others. For example, the LFE or bass lacks a lot, and you just don't get those flybys or engine thruster sounds that you want to hear. Aside from that, dialogue is rendered crystal clear. Did not have a problem with that. Fidelity is excellent across the board, and different, like I said, sound effects, ambient especially, are stable and solid and immersive. All right, now we're going to get into the part that I always love getting into, and that is all the extras. Arrow Video has included a solid double-sided poster with original and new artwork. a booklet with excerpts from the cast and crew, a reversible sleeve with original and new artwork, and a very slick slipcover. I love the slipcover. It's just so good. It's so great. Now, the Blu-ray features 3 audio commentaries. It includes 2 new 2020 commentaries from actor Lance Guest and his son, and the second new 2020 commentaries from writer, producer, creator Mike White. And it also includes the 2009 audio commentary with director Nick Castle. It also has new 2020 interviews with actress Catherine Mary Stewart, composer Greg Safin, the screenwriter, the visual effects supervisor, and sci-fi author Greg Bear. It also includes a really interesting little featurette of inside the game of Last Starfighter. He talks about what happened with the game, why it was never released, and he also talks about how he did end up creating a video game version of the movie. It's a really interesting interview and featurette. It also includes a retrospective, a documentary, and theatrical trailer and teaser. Alright, so for the Blu-ray score, I'm giving the video a 4 out of a 5. For the audio, I'm going to give it a 3.7 out of a 5. Now scrap your old 2009 copy and pick this baby up, or if you don't already own it, it's definitely well worth adding to your collection. And before you jump out of this video, let me know, what is your favorite 80s sci-fi film when you were a kid? As always, thanks so much for watching, and remember, say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean. And we'll catch you next time.
Wait a second. We knock out the turret to get the fighters. But to get the turret, we gotta get through the fighters. We're dead.
I'll have it all figured out by the time we reach the frontier.
What's that?
The frontier.